Now the ranking Democrat on the House Oversight Committee. And Congressman Cummings, I want to begin with you on this news yesterday that the U.S. Attorney here in New York, Pre-Perara, was fired. Is there, in your view, as a member of the House Oversight Committee, is there anything to look into here, or is this just the routine removal of U.S. attorneys that we've seen by presidents before?
Certainly, the president has the opportunity and the right to fire U.S. attorneys. But I wondered, George, just not very long ago, the president was saying that he was going to keep the U.S. attorney there in New York, and then suddenly he's, I guess, changed his mind. I'm just curious as to why that is, and certainly there's a lot of questions coming up as to whether President Trump is concerned about the jurisdiction of this U.S. attorney. And whether that might affect his future. When you look at everything, George, surrounding the investigations, there are a lot of questions that need to be asked. But again, the president does have that prerogative. Are you referring there to the fact that on Wednesday, several independent groups asked the U.S. Attorney, asked Pre-Perara to investigate whether the Trump organization and President Trump were in violation of the Emoluments Clause of the Constitution, that there were conflicts of interest? Yeah, I think that, again, what has been happening is that there is an air of distrust that has been brought on by President Trump himself and so many others. We have over and over again heard things that have been just proven to be untrue. And so I think that, in part, the president has created this situation for himself. But, yeah, sure, no doubt about it. When they asked about the Emoluments Clause and possible violations of it, and the U.S. Attorney's relationship to that, I think that had perhaps something to do with it. So you think there might be a connection? There very well may be. But again, George, when you come out and you make allegations, as the president has, which cannot be proven, and then you find out that things are not true, you have now created a new sense of normalcy. And that normalcy is one where, as Adam Schiff just said, you question almost anything that comes out of the president's mouth. And so I just think that the president has to be, I've told him this, by the way, that he needs to be careful with what he tweets and what he says, and do less tweeting and do more leading. You did meet with the president this week on that issue also of Medicare, whether Medicare is going to negotiate drug prices. You said coming out that the president supports that, but you just heard the director of the Office of Management and Budget. He didn't seem to endorse it when I asked him about it. Yeah, I heard that, but I can tell you that the president was enthusiastic about not only the proposal that Congressman Welch and I had with regard to Medicare being able to negotiate drug prices, but he was also enthusiastic about another proposal, George, and that is the importation of drugs from places like Canada and other foreign countries. And so he made it clear to me that he was going to do something about it. But not only did he do that, he followed it up. I met with him on Wednesday. He followed it up on Friday morning, surprisingly to me, with a lengthy call reiterating that he was going to do something about it, and then another call on Friday evening around 7 o'clock. So we'll see. So you've talked to the president about this 3 times this week, yet his director of the Office of Management and Budget doesn't come forward on Sunday morning and endorse it? I'm just telling you what happened. The president, I was surprised on Friday evening when he called me Friday evening. He called me Friday morning. And we've had now 3 discussions with regard to this issue. Well, okay, and now I want to move on to a different subject. You know, we also learned this week that the president's former national security advisor, General Michael Flynn, had registered as a foreign agent, or had received $500,000 from a group connected to Turkey during the campaign. You actually sent a letter to the vice president on November 18th, in his role as the head of the transition, asking him about this. Yet this week he said he didn't know anything about General Flynn's activities. Is this something that needs to be investigated since your questions went unanswered? I think that clearly there's some problems with the vetting process. That letter was sent November 18th, as you said. We actually got a response from somebody in his administration saying they acknowledged the receipt of the letter shortly after we sent it. And there were all kinds of red lights and yellow lights to tell the vice president and the administration that there was a major problem with General Flynn. I think that we need to look into this to figure out why it is that we cannot properly vet people. George, this is bigger than us. This is bigger than President Trump. This is about our national security. And so I'm looking forward to trying to work with others in the Congress to try to figure out how that happened. We're better than